Chapter 3 Earth Timeline, May 1972. ESP and Boy on a Bridge. The Grade 2 ESP test. The Men in Dark Suits. It was late in my second grade year at King Edward Public School in Windsor, Ontario. The promise of summer hung in the air, and the warmth of spring gently teased at the classroom windows. My classmates and I were restless, eagerly counting down the remaining weeks before the long awaited break. But that particular day, an unusual hush settled over the school, replacing our usual chatter and laughter. As I glanced around the room, I noticed two strangers dressed in dark suits standing in the hallway through the open classroom door. So formal and out of place that they immediately reminded me of the men in black from the stories we'd heard. Their presence commanded an inexplicable tension. Moments later, they approached our teacher, Miss Uzan, pulling her aside into the corridor. They handed her some printed sheets and talked with her for a bit. I could tell she was not happy about what was going on, but I couldn't comprehend what it was all about. Miss Usan returned to the classroom a few minutes later, her demeanor noticeably different. She wore a polite smile, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of anxiety. Without any preamble, she announced that today's lesson would be about ESP, extrasensory perception. The sudden departure from our regular lessons in reading and arithmetic left us all bewildered. My classmates exchanged puzzled glances, whispering questions among themselves while I tried to make sense of what was happening. ESP? What's that? I asked in my mind. Practicing ESP games. The morning unfolded with Miss Usen guiding us through various ESP games. We guessed colors, numbers, and shapes, activities that felt both strange and fascinating. Some of the kids laughed, finding the games amusing, while others sat quietly, intrigued by the new subject matter. Throughout the sessions, the men in dark suits lingered at the door, occasionally peering in through the window. They whispered to each other in hushed tones, their presence casting a shadow of unease over the room. I was picking up Miss Usan's feeling of hopelessness. She would glance towards the men as if wishing she could make them disappear, but she felt powerless to stand up to them. There was a palpable tension beneath the surface of the lesson, as if Miss Usan was following instructions she didn't fully understand. Her movements were precise but hesitant, and I could sense her discomfort. After lunch, the atmosphere grew even more charged. One by one, each student was called to a side room, a place we rarely used except for storing old textbooks. When my name was finally called, Miss Usan gave me a nervous but encouraging nod, signaling me to follow her. The private test. The side room was dimly lit by a single buzzing overhead light, casting long shadows across the scarred wooden desk. The air smelled faintly of old books and chalk dust. I sat facing one of the suited men, while another stood in the corner, the soft scratch of his pen the only sound in the room. On the desk before me were several cards, adorned with various symbols, squares, stars, circles. The man across from me spoke in a calm, authoritative tone, asking me to name what I sensed about each card. He would hold one of the cards in front of him so only he could see it. A chill ran down my spine as I tried to focus, but something felt terribly wrong. Suddenly, a clear voice, calm, urgent, impossibly familiar, echoed in my mind. Jerry, you do not want to pass this test. I looked around frantically, hoping someone had whispered those words, but the men remained still, their expressions unreadable. The voice persisted, louder this time. Jerry, you really don't want to pass this test. My heart pounded in my chest as confusion and fear swirled within me. The man with the cards leaned in, urging me to concentrate. Focus on the shape, son. What do you see? He prompted. The warning came a third time, insistent. Jerry, do not pass this test. The voice overpowered his instructions. I thought back. Fine, I won't pass it. If the symbol felt like a circle, I said square. If the color appeared to be blue, I insisted it was red. Each deliberate wrong answer felt like I was dodging an unseen threat, failing on purpose. With every incorrect response, circle became square. Blue became red. A strange sense of relief washed over me, like dodging a shadow I couldn't see. The suited man's frustration grew. His pen scratched harder. His jaw tightened. Take your time. Try again, he coaxed gently, attempting to guide me back on track. But I remained steadfast, sticking to my plan of giving wrong answers. His patience wore thin, and after a few more futile attempts to redirect me, he sighed deeply. That will be all, he declared, signaling for me to leave the room. My knees felt wobbly as I stood up, clutching my desk tightly before making my way back to the classroom. Miss Usen greeted me with a faint, sympathetic smile. She didn't inquire about how the test went, nor did I share any details. Her silent understanding hinted that she, too, was uncomfortable with the day's events. The room returned to its usual state, but the unease lingered like a shadow over everything. Aftermath, relief, and confusion. By the end of the day, the men in dark suits had vanished, leaving the school enveloped in an eerie stillness. Some of my classmates boasted about how they had perfectly guessed the shapes, while others remained indifferent, claiming they had no idea what was happening. I chose to keep my intentional failure to myself, a secret weighed down by a lingering sense of unease. In the days that followed, whispers spread about a few students being labeled as gifted and taken to special boarding schools. Much later, literally decades, rumors surfaced that it had been something more sinister, like MK Ultra and other secret government projects aimed at testing and developing children's ESP abilities. The thought sent shivers down my spine as I recalled how close I had come to being part of those dark experiments, all thanks to the mysterious voice's warning. May 1972, Earth Timeline, 2018, SSP, The Ongoing Dream of a Boy on a Bridge. At that time, I had no idea who the voice in my head was. It wasn't until 2024 when I finally discovered the concept of sideways memory access that I started to piece together what had happened that day. In 2018, my time in the SSP was nearing its end, and there was one promise I had to fulfill. It had been recorded by the Time Authority many years in the future and remembered by post SSP Jerry, who had also written and spoken about it. I was to return one last time to spend a final day with Catharine before she passed. After landing my time shuttle near her home, I made my way to the front of her house. Not only was I concluding my time in the SSP, but it also marked the end of her time on this planet. For all intents and purposes, this would be the last time we would ever see each other. She would leave this world, and I would return to 1993 with no memory of what had transpired. Just before I reached her front door, I sensed someone in my mind. Wait, what? ESP practice? Jerry's time to take the test? No way, I thought. I was the voice? The irony hit me all at once. Not long before, I had traveled back to 1901 to save a young boy, Catherine's son, Billy, from a deadly drawbridge accident. The terrifying images of that day, of Billy hanging on for dear life, flooded my mind. I sensed a little confusion from 1972 Jerry, and it all came rushing back. Jerry, you don't want to pass this test. Jerry, you really don't want to pass this test. Jerry, do not pass this test. I sensed his reply, a simple, resigned, fine, I won't pass it. He began giving wrong answers, a path I knew all too well, not understanding why or how that message had reached him. Shaking the thought from my mind, I refocused on my task at hand. One last day with my Victorian goddess before my memory was erased and before she left this world. Oops. Why had I thought about the bridge incident? I realized then that the dream had replayed over and over thousands of times since that day. At least now I understood. That voice, those recurring dreams, they were all part of it. Author's note. While meditating on my final visit to Catharine, I was stunned by a sideways memory access that played like a movie in real time. I realized I was the voice that warned my 7-year-old self during the 1972 ESP test and the source of the recurring boy on a bridge dream. This was a case where an SSP memory completed a decades old Earth mystery. As I wrote this chapter, new memories surfaced, answering questions that had lingered for years. More on the final visit with Catharine appears in its proper timeline spot. Song related to this chapter: SSP, Love Across Time album, ESP, and Boy on a Bridge by Jerry T. Great.
Sitting in class on a warm spring day, the spooks in dark suits, they came to stay. The teacher's voice soft but strange and clear. Today we'll test ESP, don't fear. The cards come out, symbols in the air. I feel the weight of something I can't share. A voice whispers low right in my head. Jerry, don't pass, you don't wanna be misled. If your brain says blue, you say red. If you see a square, say circle instead. I try to listen, but the voice takes the lead. My mind's in a whirl, trying to succeed. And it's a dream that's haunting me. On a bridge, death's all I see. I'm hanging on and I don't know why. Little boy or man, I'm caught in the sky. I try to escape, but the fear won't go. The dream keeps pulling me, it's all I know. How can I survive when I can't see the way? I'm stuck in the bridge, don't know how to stay. Day after day, the dream replays, hanging on, lost in a haze. But I'm not the boy, I'm the man. I have to rescue him, I just don't understand. The voice in my head, it guided me right.